Want to know what your dog is thinking?
Have a challenging dog behavior you need help with?
The Dish on Dogs is your source for all your canine questions.
Improve your relationship with your dog and deepen your understanding of your furry friend. Right here on the Dish on Dogs. Welcome to another informative and exciting episode of the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, affectionately known as the Mayor of Houndstown, USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. We're currently at our 2.5 million dog mark, meaning on any given day in our system, we're taking care of today about 1,000 dogs, between 700 and 1,000 dogs, and that number is increasingly getting higher and higher. This show is about dogs, obviously dog behavior, and sometimes we kind of go towards the business end of pet care because it's something that there's great interest in. People are, sick. There's a lot of happening in the world today, pre-COVID, post-COVID. I very rarely know what day it is. I don't know where we are, but I know we are going from 2020 and now we're into 2021. That I know. So there are people out there. So why is this relevant? Because there are people out there that are changing jobs, changing states. There's people are doing a lot of things happening in the country. And I'm here with the lovely Jackie Bondanza, the president of Houndstown, USA. We're here with our little ambassador, Zooming Rosie, her name is. Zooming Rosie is a two-legged dog. If you haven't ever saw a two-legged dog, here you're seeing one live and in person. So here we are today. Jackie, what are we talking about today? I have no the hell
goodness.
idea.
Lots of coffee already.
Yeah.
Okay, so today I really wanted to talk about the status of our Houndstown business. Franchising wise, we've seen such tremendous growth, particularly over the past 2 years. As we're coming out of COVID and into 2021. I want to give people an update on how many locations we have, right. How many do we have signed up, what are our growth plans, kind of what are the characteristics we look for in, a great franchise partner. Right. Talk a little bit about how COVID affected our business. So that's kind of the topic for today.
So it's kind of like the State of the Union address.
Yeah,
right?
A little
right
State
now,
of the Union.
We're moving. We've done a lot. It's been and it's very fast moving.
It is.
And and I know that you have, there's a lot of moving parts to franchising. That's the other thing that I don't know if people fully grasp when we meet people coming in. It's a complicated business, and we need somebody like Jackie and her team. You don't want me unraveling a lot of this for you. It took me a long time. I started this about 7 years ago, I think.
Franchising?
Yeah. So here it is. I went to these franchising seminars, and I'd listen with experts on franchising. And at the end of it, they'd say, does anybody have any questions? And I would raise my hand and say, the only thing that I'm a little confused about, am I the franchisee or the franchisor? And this was after franchisor, franchisee, you do, and my head was spinning. So there I said, if I don't know whether I'm the franchisee or the franchisor, after listening, because my brain doesn't process information like everybody else's does. So now I have this wonderful president of Houndstown Charities that can absorb all this information and, most importantly, execute things, putting things in work. So
right.
that's all I'm going to say.
So you're a true founder. You started this business over 20 years ago, and you're the big idea guy.
Right? Colonel Sanders. I like the chicken, but I don't know how to,
make it.
I don't know how to make it and roll it out to everybody in the country.
But so this is actually a great metaphor for franchising, right? Somebody has an idea. It's a great idea. That was you 20 years ago. You had the background and the resources to implement the idea. Opened a couple stores, and then, a couple years later, someone else came along and they took the ball and ran with it for a little bit. And then it grew and grew and grew, right, over the past 20 years. So now we're at a point where, like you said before, that this is complicated. Our actual business is not complicated. The operations of our franchise locations is not complicated. Exactly. The business of franchising is complicated.
Right.
Vetting candidates properly, finding locations, build out, marketing, pre-opening, hiring. All of that is more complicated, than we'd like it to be sometimes. So our team, we have a vast team now. So in the 8 years I've been doing this, we went from basically just you and I doing this to, now we have a whole development team. We've got a legal team. We have a whole marketing team now, an operations team. We've got probably 20 different people that work either full-time on staff for us or they're contracted in some way.
Right.
And they have resources and teams of people. So
probably more than that when you start breaking down our construction management teams. And there are so many people in a supportive role that are our team members who share the same cultural, let's get it done, passionate people. But
absolutely.
So we're growing very rapidly.
We're growing rapidly. And I know when I speak to a lot of people on clearance calls, which happen about halfway through the vetting process, many people ask this question. I think it's a good one. You're growing so fast. How do you expect to support everybody? If I'm store number 80, am I going to get the same support from you as store number 2?
Right.
And we always talk about this in-house, internally, between us, between Corey, our marketing and branding director. How do we scale this and remain very conscious about one-on-one support? Because we truly believe that one-on-one support is crucial to our success. Right. So our answer to that has been to replicate the level of passion and investment in our team members, and just basically to duplicate ourselves.
Right.
So we've been successful at doing that over the past 8 years. When I came in to Houndstown, there were only 3 locations, barely, the third had just opened. We now have close to 20. So we've gotten through that scaling process by finding people like Corey, our marketing director, Corinne, our operations manager. They're able to be basically extensions of ourselves and still have that one-on-one touch point with franchisees when they come into the system.
Right. So I think you made some very great points. And number one, I'll have to acknowledge, I've never met one human being that works as hard as she does. I really mean that. There's no vacations, there's nothing. It's 7 days, 365 days a week. And I'm just saying that because you have to realize that is the type of work that's involved on our end. So we're not out on a yacht doing our getting manicure pedicures. So, but to your point, I remember when we opened our first location in Nassau County. So the same question. Okay, you guys are here. What are you going to do for us here? And obviously we've done it very successfully, and they're opening their other team franchisees. Then the next question was, you're in New York. What are you going to do for us in New Jersey? Right across the river. So I understand that. Then Pittsburgh and so forth. So that's a natural tendency. I laugh at the franchisee that came at Discovery Day, and they said as politely as they could, like, Mike, what happens when you die? And I said, it's not if I die, I'm going to die. And so... But I get it, right? Like what
now you tell people that you're most likely not going to live through the 10 years of their agreement.
I know I look like I'm 50, but I'm not. So we're signing a 10-year partnership. The odds of me it's a better chance Rosie is going to be the
she's our successor.
Right, than me. She's the successor. So, but I get that, right? So people are like, it's a nerve-wracking experience. It requires a lot of trust. And it's never 100%, right?
No.
Whether you're our next door neighbor, there's the same thing is going to exist in Nevada as it does here on Long Island. You're going to have all of these hurdles to go over, no matter where you. But what we do separate us. We are all in here. We are, and our employees, our team members, they have the same amount of crazy passion. They take it personally. Right. Marketing director Corey Packer. He's, it's personal to him. It's personal to him to get a customer.
Right. And I think we don't hire people that don't have that level of commitment. And honestly, for us, like, we're not, we need to not be driven by money. This is not a 9-to-5 job. And that's what we look for in our franchise candidates as well. It's a bigger picture, right? We're all in this because we want, to be financially successful, but there has to be a bigger motive here. And that is what I'm motivated by. I know you're motivated by, is seeing our brand grow, seeing other people take our model and be successful. And that's who we plan to hire as our team members. And, we remain very conscious about who we bring on. We're very purposeful in the fact that we're kind of anti-corporate and silly and fun. So everybody we bring on has to have that sense of humor. They have to be able to have honest and kind of straightforward conversations. We're a very transparent company in everything that we do. And that, that's super important. I think that's one of the reasons why we've been so successful, particularly over the past couple years, because people are coming from very serious, high stress jobs, right? In the corporate world, and they're looking to do something different. They want to just have a little bit more fun in life and not experience such pressure every day when they wake up. So it's our job to make sure that we're replicating that culture as much as possible at least among all of our team members, and honestly should be replicated in every store as well for our customers.
Oh, absolutely. And the other side, there's another side to that coin, of course. Franchising is a very, it's a different type of business model, right? So we're going into business with franchisees. We're partners. And we have an agreement to go into this partnership. And what's always difficult for me, and somebody asked me that, our vetting process is wonderful, but it's very limited. You probably wouldn't normally go into a business partnership with somebody you've only known for a month or two, and you met them at a discovery day for eight hours.
Yeah.
And that's our conundrum, so to speak, is we have to make a judgment, and it's a team discussion. Everybody gives their input. It's not exact. And it's a little bit, it's concerning because obviously in any relationship, there's the honeymoon phase. Everybody presents themselves in their best light. But we don't know what they're going to be like under stress. We don't know, and there's going to be moments of stress. How are they going to handle that pressure? What are they going to do? So it's a very complicated thing, and we have to make that decision. We can't try you out for 3 or 4 months and work together. And it goes both ways, right? You have to trust us. And I can tell you, we work very hard to carry out the terms of what we need to do for you.
Well, the good thing for franchise candidates is that you do have a way to kind of investigate us, right? Beyond the FDD and the franchise agreement, we have validation calls. So you can call any one of our existing franchisees and validate what we're saying right here on the show. We don't have the opportunity to do that.
Jackie, that's a good point. I never looked at it that way. So we're at a significant disadvantage because you guys show up, bring us a box of donuts, and tell us how wonderful you are. And then we have to make this decision in a relatively short period of time. And we don't really, I'm kidding, but we don't really know how. In law enforcement, I never knew how my partner was going to react under stress until the stress happened. We could have been great. We met in the police academy, blah, blah, blah. And that's in the military and all of these things. And there are stressful moments. This is not a picnic. It's not a walk in the park. Here's the thing. Running a small business in many ways is more difficult than running a big corporation.
Agreed.
So many of our franchisees come into this system now more than ever. They're very impressive in their world, whatever their world is. Now to come and run a business with 5 or 6 employees, with a budget, and it's just with live animals and all of and I'm not trying to turn people off, but we do, when we have a discovery day, we are not selling. We're not selling. We're awarding territories to somebody who we think, hopefully, is going to make good business partners for us. Right. And that's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it's never an exact science. It's always a risk on all of our parts. But like you said, trust is the biggest factor. And that's something that we pretty much, I feel completely confident in saying that we have a trusting relationship with all of our franchisees. Yes. We might not always agree with one another, but we can always have an honest conversation. At the end of the day, that is absolutely necessary in business, to be able to have a professional, honest conversation. Right. And just to go back to how we're kind of staffing and growing, and a lot of people do ask this, like, what happens if something happens to you, to the two of us, because we're so kind of front and center. And I always say, we need to build a business where we're not needed. We can't build a business where we are, of course we're the key players, but we need to replicate ourselves in a way that we are disposable.
Right. But guess what, Jackie? The same thing applies to the franchisees that are starting
Yes.
a business. So this is all connected. So if you open your small business and you're the only one that knows how to run it and you don't know how to delegate
Right.
and you don't staff your business right, the same thing happens to you on this micro level that happens to us on a macro level. So it's not brain surgery here. We have to.
You do have to. It does take strategizing though, because it's takes strategizing to. Because when you first open a business, I mean, I can speak to this because when I first started doing this, you just get into a kind of the routine where it's easier for you to do everything, right? But you have always been the biggest proponent of delegation. I think because of your experience in the police department, because it was so structured, I think, the delegation hierarchy to some degree. Right. So some people have to work harder at it than others. I had to work harder at delegation and not taking too much on and making sure that I'm, hiring other people to do things that they can do better than I can.
Right. No, and delegation, there is an art to it. I mean, people go to school for business management because that's what we're doing here. We're running a business, we're managing it. So yeah, those are the kind of things that I'm, one time a franchisee asked me, we're asking you what stresses me out the most? And right. I will tell you emphatically, what perplexes me to this day is people are investing, in many cases, their life savings into a model, into a system. And the system includes what temperature to set the thermostat, when to turn out the lights, when to turn on the lights, when to lock the door, what to wash the floor with, everything. Yet, I guess it's human nature, and I mean this sincerely, that they want to just make a better mousetrap.
Right.
And when they're making the better mousetrap, it usually creates a bigger problem that they ever expected to do.
Right.
And we've done this. That's all I can just reiterate. We've hired, fired, you name it. We've dealt with hurricanes. We've dealt with almost every possible thing that
a business can go through.
Right.
Yes.
Over and over again. So it's just, again, people say it. We go to Discovery Day.
Right.
And they'll say, yeah, we plan on following the model until they don't.
Right. Until they want to do something different.
Which is the next day.
It's our job to constantly assess, different ideas, different programs, we've had people say, can we offer dog training? Can we, charge for birthday parties? Can we upcharge for this? There's our job. We spend probably 70 hours a week. A big chunk of that is considering all of these things. So we are not oblivious to these, opportunities. And most likely we've already ruled them out because they're not going to be fiscally viable. They're going to create more liability. It's going to be a customer service problem. So it's not that we're not willing to listen to franchisees' ideas. We invite that, but we will provide honest feedback on why we may not allow that program.
Right. And the answer usually is been there, done that. We didn't just fall off the turnip truck. We have been doing this, whatever that means. We've done it, and we are open to ideas, but I can tell you, if I listen to 10 ideas, one of them may have some validity to it, and we would then try it we would roll it out at one of our corporate stores. We have 2 corporate locations. One operates completely autonomously, meaning we don't go there. I go there twice a year. There is, we follow the model to a T, hiring, cleaning products. Everything we do is from our manual, and we do it very successfully. So I don't have a lot of empathy, I really don't, when I get phone calls about my sink's clogged, what should I do, or something like that. If I can do it, if this sink is clogged, I Google up plumber, and they go and fix it. It's simple. I can do it during this broadcast. So humans complicate things. My brain, Rosie's brain, is very simple, and we try to simplify things. And this is the constant kind of conundrum. Very smart, the conflict. Very smart people, analytical people, they study and they analyze information. Now they want to take that from their private life and bring it into a business that is simple if you allow it to be.
Right. Yeah, and that's the beauty of, what we're doing here is the simplicity. A lot of people are attracted to the simplistic nature of our model. So we have to work really hard to protect that, right? And to not allow franchisees to kind of get in their own way, to some degree. So let's talk a little bit about, what are the qualities we look for in a good franchise candidate? I want to talk about that and then finish by talking about some of our 2021 growth. So, I always tell people that kind of the top 3 qualities that we look for. Number 1, customer service, some type of customer service skill or experience. This is a customer service business at the end of the day. Yes. And the more comfortable people are interacting with customers, getting out there in the community, building relationships, forming relationships with other businesses, sponsoring events, joining the Chamber of Commerce, those are all really, really important things to do to help build your small business. And then when, there is a customer complaint, which is inevitable in any service business, you have to have the confidence to have a conversation with the customer that is not necessarily going to be a positive one. Customer service skills, number 1. Number 2, having some sort of hiring and management experience. Like you said, and I totally agree, running a large corporation or overseeing 50 high-level employees is completely different than overseeing 5 entry-level kennel attendants.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a learning curve. And of course, we provide you with all the resources we can on how to hire, when to hire, who to hire, what does that, what does it look like? And to help you kind of transition into that. But being a good leader is just as important at a Fortune 500 company as it is in a small business with a staff of 5 people.
Yes. But can I ask you a serious question? It's a conundrum. As I listen to you talk, I'm processing this information. And here, how do you deal? So we know, relating this to dogs don't really have a level of self-awareness, right? They can't look in the mirror and see a reflection of themselves and say, I want to be different. I want to be better. So who among us, including me, when we go on, Match.com or anything, say, well, we suck at this, we suck at that. So the self-awareness, because I don't think people listening would say, oh, I'm a good leader. I would be great at customer service. I'm great at sales. I work for NASA and I sell rocket motors, so I'm good at that. So this is really a serious conundrum. How do we take that? And as I said, and people say, this isn't my strength. This isn't my strength. What if you have none of those strengths? Can't you delegate that to somebody who does?
Well, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that's then if you're going to be an absentee owner, then that's something that we discuss with you. But you have to come in with some type of business experience to be able to delegate properly. So we don't, our ideal franchisee is someone who's semi-absentee. They have enough skill to get in the business, get the business open. The first 90 to 120 days, you will need to be in the store, learning everything. 12 hours a day, maybe sometimes you need to be able to cover shifts if your staff calls out. After that 90 to 120 day mark, we want you to start to back away because you need to start working on the business instead of in it. And we do always talk about self-awareness and how important it is to understand your strengths and weaknesses. If you don't, it's going to create operations problems in the store.
Right. So if you can't accept our coaching, that's what I call it. It's never criticism, it's coaching. But if 2 or 3 people are saying, you're not very good at this, whatever it is, it's because you can't be good at everything. Nobody can. Nobody can be good at all the aspects of this business. When we come to the table thinking we are, that's a big problem.
Yes, for sure. That is part of our vetting process, though. We try to understand what people's goals are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and get people to start thinking about what those are, and formulating a business plan on how to address them. I don't consider myself to be very good at customer service at all, and I'm running a customer service brand.
All right, no, you are. You are right.
But I'm not comfortable with it.
You're not warm and fuzzy like me.
Yeah, you're better at it. You had more experience, though. So the point is, there's a way for me to be successful at running a customer service business without being great at it.
Exactly.
Because I've got you as my business partner, or I've got Danielle as my manager who's better at it. Right. So yes, of course you can delegate, but you have to first recognize that you're not good at something.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's again, it's a problem because our franchisees are so talented. That's why we're drawn to them.
Right.
They're magnificent in their own right. But what they do then is take their skill set. Let's say their background is in marketing. They got a PhD in marketing, if there's such a thing. Or they do something on social media with their other company that worked for them selling widgets or whatever the hell they do. Then they come here. This is foreign land for us because our marketing team does something that may be completely different. And,
yeah.
This goes down to, this is my frustration. My credit card machine. In my other business, we use this. So it gets very complicated. All right, so I know sometimes I'm like a runaway train, too much scotch and coffee in the morning, so I get a little sidetracked. So this is a wonderful business to be in. Our franchisees, this is kind of the other part to this. We're like family members.
Right.
So that's the other thing. We don't sell something and see you later bye. So we're connected to you on a level for 10 years. Some of it we do just by natural. We have Christmas parties. We have training seminars. We have weekly conversations.
Right.
So it is a relationship. And I do look at it like a family. And families, most of our families, I think we could all look at each other and know that they don't run as smoothly as we like. We wish one member of our family did something a little better. So that's how we approach it. And I don't want to come across as negative, but maybe you can hear in my voice that we take this very seriously.
Right, of course, yeah. It's
And
I don't think it's negative. We're just, looking for people that have an ability to look at themselves and understand have some self-reflection.
Right.
That will help.
Because sometimes I go out and do site visits, and I'm kind of look like as the Debbie Downer of the business, right? Because I don't necessarily see things that everybody else does. So anyway, with that said, Jackie Bondanza, let's talk about 2021.
Okay,
What's
so
in our
let's
future?
talk about 2021, kind of where we are now as we're heading into quarter 2 or Q2, as we say.
You big
we
shot
say it corporate.
Q2.
So we're currently at 18 stores open in 7 different states. We're about to open our 19th store probably next month in Atlanta, Georgia. And we've got another 10 that are in build out right now, right? So they're going to open by the end of 2021. So end of this year, we'll be close to 30 stores open in probably 10 different states. And then we've got another 23 that are in what we call signed but not open yet. So they have signed an agreement to develop a territory or a multi-pack, and they are currently in site selection. So if they find a building in the next couple of months, they could open in 2021. Most likely, the majority of them will open in 2022. So we are pretty teed up to have 50 stores open by the end of 2022. And we're very on track to sell 100 territories this year, to be at 100, if not over. So, our goal is to be the biggest and the best pet care franchise system out there. And I believe we absolutely can achieve that given just the sheer lack of competition that's out there, the opportunities in so many markets across the country, and because of our differentiators. I mean, like you always say, we actually know something about dogs, and that is not something that our competitors can claim.
Right. And we take a scientific approach to it. So to go back to Jackie's point, I don't want to sound cocky, conceited, or overly boastful. My prediction is within the next 36 months, Houndstown is going to be the most recognizable brand in the pet care industry. And I'm not just saying that waking up one day. I see the evidence of it. We don't have competition, to be very honest with you. And I know that sounds weird to people because they're like, well, they take care of dogs, you take care of dogs, pets, blah, blah, blah. We don't have competition. And once you start learning about us and seeing, and I completely mean that.
Right, because even our closest competitors, they don't do things exactly how we do them.
Right.
So the way that we group dogs is super unique. The way that we evaluate dogs. So, it's very easy for us to compete against anyone.
And very frankly, we've been pioneers in this business. Although we haven't been franchising, and we've been pioneers. I've been grouping dog bully breeds for over 40 years. I've been putting bully breeds together. So we are literally pioneers. Are we, just now franchising in the last 7 years? Of course, but we wanted to make sure our system was so. And the most important thing is transferable. So we can take we've honed this down, that we can take somebody who doesn't even know what a dog is. They wouldn't know a dog from a peg. And we can teach them that, and we can teach them all the skills. But I'm excited about this, Jackie. I hope I'm alive to see when we're the number one name in 36 months.
So we are actually on track, to be at about 100 units open by the end of 2023 or so, going into 2024. And 2023, which is only 24 months away, that year, 24 months from now, is predicted to be a $300 billion a year for the pet industry, meaning people are anticipated to spend $300 billion a year on their pets. Now, that doesn't include just doggy daycare and boarding. It includes everything. But if you think about it this way, this year, I believe 2020, that number was $100 billion. So it's going to triple in just 2 years. Right. So we are very paralleled with that growth, so that by the time we reach that anticipated figure, we're going to have close to 100 units open. Right. And we're able to capture as much of that market share and spend as possible.
And normally I'm a skeptical person by nature. The years in my life I've been skeptical. So if you say that, I would be skeptical. But one reason I completely believe that is because 2020, we experienced more growth in 2020 during one of the biggest health crises in the history. And so nothing's slowing it. We're busier now than ever. We're seeing more dogs in our facilities now more than ever. We're getting calls from our franchisees about they can't handle all the marketing leads that are coming in and also operate their stores 80, 90 dogs a day. So it's a good problem to have, but one that emphasizes the importance of getting more franchisees into the system to open more locations so we can, if we're full, we can send you down the block. Right. And that is what our goal is. We're looking for people who want to hit the ground running and who are just, like I said, have some customer service, hiring and managing skills, and some business acumen to be able to make some good business decisions. All right, so let's wrap this up. You can catch us every Monday night at 8 o'clock on The Dish on Dogs on Facebook. You can also catch us on our YouTube channel, The Dish on Dogs, as well as iTunes, Spotify, and all your other podcast platforms. If you're interested in franchising, please visit our franchise website, houndstownfranchise.com. You'll get all the info you need to get started. We'll see everybody next Monday. Zooming Rosie, shout out.